Let's see what the difference between the pitch tones and deep program in the Deus and the field program in the Simplex. Both have 11-inch coils on them. And I'll start out with the Deus. And I'll start out with, I'm going to try to dial it in to get stuff shallow and deep. So here's a nail right here, a bent square nail, and a penny right on the surface, right? I also have a nickel at 5 inches deep right there in the iron. And I also have a quarter at 6 inches in the iron there. And the quarter right there has a lot of iron around it. There's iron all around here. Now, I don't know how much is in the hole with the quarter, but there's a lot of iron in there. I just buried a quarter and a nickel anywhere in my really irony backyard here. But I'll start out with the XP Deus in my deep pitch program. I'm in deep program, but pitch tones. And I have it at 27 kilohertz to start out with. And I'm going to try to hit all these targets here. And I want to try to figure out which frequency is going to work the best for the Deus. And I'm going to compare it up against the Simplex. And I'll show you how good the Simplex is just right out of the box. Hitting it good right there. 20. No, I'll show you that nail. It's not pulsing on that nail. Right there. Right there. Hitting it really good there. It doesn't like hitting it when the coil is above that iron. It doesn't like hitting it very good. You know, it's not responding very well to that penny with that iron in within the field of that coil. But when it sweeps over it, it just really likes it. Now I'll drop the frequency down. I'm discriminated at 22. That's normally what I have it right around. I can drop that down just a little bit. Might see if it's pulsing on it or not. No, not pulsing. The iron discrimination, if I drop it down in the 7s, within the 7 range, it pulses on that iron right there. The programs are pretty similar, and I'll change my frequency down to 12 or 11.7 kilohertz, and it changes a lot. All right. I can hear that iron a lot more. I didn't change any settings. I lowered the frequency. It's liking that lower conductive target, shallow, right? Now I'll go over to this nickel at 5 inches deep in the iron. It's still hitting it. Still hitting it pretty good. I'll even drop the frequency down here to 7.7 kilohertz. Struggling on that. Being in the lower frequencies, right? My soil doesn't like lower frequencies, just to let you know. I have a lot of minerals in my soil. And now I'll go over that penny and that iron again. I can hear a lot more iron coming out now, and I didn't change any settings. I only lowered my frequency down to 7.7 kilohertz. And I'll raise it up to 25 kilohertz, all the way up. Now listen to the iron. The iron lowered in volume, and it's rejecting the iron a lot better at the higher frequencies. Now I'll go over that quarter here at higher frequencies. I'm having to swing really slow. You see, getting a lot of falsing and some foil here, a lot of foil and stuff down the soil there. It's not hitting it very good. It's hitting it, but it's not hitting it very well. Now I'll drop the frequency down to 11.3 kilohertz, which is pretty close to Simplex. Not a super evident target right there, right? It's been pretty elusive today, that coin there. Especially with the Equinox. Field program against the pitch program in the Deus. field program 278 stock coil. All right. I'll take that out of there. Right. Not falsing on that nail, right? I'll put it right next to it. How about that? Still hitting it with that coil directly above it, right? It's really hitting it down the barrel there. Now I'll come over to that nickel and that quarter. I'll go with this iron here, right? It's a bunch of iron, right? A lot of iron tones in it still. It's slaughtering that coin. It's slaughtering that coin at 5 inches deep. Here's that quarter at 6 inches deep with a lot more iron in it. I'll go over this iron right. It's a very evident target, right? I'll mute it. It's a very evident target. Right when I swing over that, bam, I get a high tone. Right with that, with the Deus, I was really trying to work that coil a little bit to get a better signal. I know where that coin is at, right? I know how deep it is. I know how much, know how much iron is in the hole there. A lot of iron, a lot more iron than that nickel, right? And I'll just sweep over it again, right? Iron, 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 just massive iron through here. That's just absurd. That's absurd, man. Every test that I do like this, I learn something new about the machines. And I'm really liking the Simplex a lot more since I've been testing it against my high-end machines. And this new machine that comes out, you know, I've done a lot of testing with the Equinox, a multi-frequency, simultaneous frequency machine in the iron and on these deeper targets here, just to see which modes and which settings are gonna be balanced out right. So you can be getting deep targets and you can get shallow targets all in the same settings, no having to push any buttons, right? And the Simplex is pretty much just like that in every mode, right? I can watch this. I'll just turn the Simplex back on. Get my camera on straight here. Simplex. I'll just turn it on and put it in 2-tone, right? Or 3-tone, Park 2, right here, right? I'll take that penny out, right? Just iron. Just iron, right? Just iron. Put that penny right back in there. I am directly over that nail, right in the center of the coil, along with that penny. And it's still hitting it big time. 90s numbers. I'm not really looking at the numbers. I'm listening to the tones, right? Now I'll go same mode. I'll go over this nickel here at 5 inches deep. All the iron, right? All this iron. I'm actually getting double beeps on it because the Simplex goes that deep, right? Usually when you get double beeps, it's something near the surface, but that coin is at 5 inches deep right there. And it is falsing on the iron. When I'm getting those double beeps, it's actually falsing on some iron there. A lot of detectors do that, you know, they false on the iron. But this is at 12 kilohertz frequency. I can't change the frequencies. I was adjusting the frequencies in the Deus just to try to learn what the happy medium is to get shallow targets in the iron and also get those deeper targets in the iron, right? I'll just swing all this other iron over here too. Watch. See? That's that nickel. That's that quarter, 6 inches deep. It's a lot to take in, you know. That's a lot of audio to take in. But I want to balance, I want to stabilize the machine and get it to where it's getting shallow targets and deep targets all in the same settings, so I know that I'm not missing too much. You know that you're missing a lot because a site is never hunted out. You can go back to a site over and over and over and hundreds of times and still get some epic stuff out of it. And with the Simplex, it just seems to do it, man. It seems to perform very well in all the modes. With Park 1, might struggle a little bit with that, with this penny target, but it still does pretty good. Actually, I'll do that right now. I'll see if it'll do it in Park 1. You know, I can adjust my Deus and tweak on it and put it in different modes and stuff, and it just doesn't perform like the Simplex, man. But once you get in the iron, you know, it's a different story. In reality, this Simplex will struggle getting those higher conductive targets out. The Deus really thrives with that high frequency coil on there. This is where the Deus's cream of crop is, right here, that high frequency, you know. But the stuff on the surface here is really easy to get for most detectors. The Equinox struggles with this target big time. The Equinox struggles with that nickel big time, and the Equinox struggles a little bit with that quarter and all the iron. I have to have it in 4 kilohertz or in 5 kilohertz to really hit on that nickel or that quarter pretty good. But that's not a lot of iron there. The Equinox does perform very well in clean ground, but once you get around iron like this in my backyard here, it just goes crazy. You know, you can't pinpoint any targets. I have a video out that's showing that. Here's Park 1 right here. Not falsing on that, right? So that penny, I'm gonna put it a little bit closer here, a little bit closer. I'm getting a high tone on that target right there with that nail directly below the coil. 90s, right? The simplicity of the metal detector is what it's about. The simplicity of a metal detector, especially with the Simplex, you know, it's not rocket science, you know. Metal detecting is not rocket science, and you don't want to make it rocket science. But when it's that easy, man, we struggled for a lot of years with those detectors, man, having to turn a bunch of dials and push a bunch of buttons and put different coils on them, and just a lot of pushing buttons. And now that we have the Simplex, you know, everybody wants a Simplex. You know, everybody wants a Simplex. All the guys who I know who detect have a Simplex. And a lot of them have put their high-end machines in the closet, and they have much more dust than my machines have, right? And it's just amazing. An entry-level machine doing this to the market, right? What's going to be next for the Simplex? We know, there's going to be a multi-frequency machine. I have high hopes for it, but multi-frequency machines are a lot harder to use, man, because you have multi-frequencies running at the same time, and you are falsing on, or it's hard to stabilize a machine on different targets. If you're going for low conductive targets, like if you're trying to get some gold in some iron, high frequency machines work. Multi-frequency machines don't work because it's just erratic tones, right? You're trying to go for multiple conductivity targets at the same time, so your tones are going to be really jumpy. I don't know what kind of technology they have in this new detector, but I can't wait. My hopes are fairly high for it because of the Simplex, and it's in the Simplex housing. That's what makes it even better. Lightweight, durable, updatable, but with that target right there, it just shows you what the Simplex has done to me as a metal detectorist. I've gotten so much more deeper stuff along with the shallow stuff all at the same time, just in the same settings. And if you're not pushing buttons, you're getting more of this stuff out of the ground. You're getting more of that deep stuff, and you're getting more of the shallow stuff, right? Before, you had to have your metal detector dialed in just perfect to get those deeper coins along with those shallow targets around a little bit of iron. But you saw that. Those targets have a lot of iron in them. That nickel and that quarter have a lot of iron in them. My machines struggle on them, except for the Simplex. The Simplex really hammers those coins really hard. I can sit here for a half an hour, and I've done it for many times. I've sat here for 2 hours at it, 2 hours long, dialing in my machines, the Equinox, the Deus, the Amphibio, trying to hit those coins. And the Simplex just comes out here and just kicks their ass every time, man. In all the modes, right? I don't have to make any adjustments, just factory preset. Turn it in park 1, park 2, and field, and it just tears them up every time, right? And I have to sit here and change my coils out on my Deus, change the frequencies, change my auto response, change my recovery speed. It's just, it shouldn't be that confusing, right? It should be that simple right there. The Simplex, just like they said, there's no rivals, man. There's no rivals to the Simplex. And sure, when you get around a lot of EMI, or you get around some hot soil, or a bed of square nails, it's gonna struggle. The Simplex is gonna struggle. But that shows you proof that the Simplex can go deep and shallow all at the same time. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.